For the first 2 decades of life, friendship is a byproduct of the system. You are placed in a building for 180 days a year with the same peers, moving through shared lockers and lunch tables that create thousands of hours of forced interaction. Adulthood removes that conveyor belt. Suddenly, the entire responsibility for creating and maintaining a social infrastructure shifts to you, with no formal instructions on how to begin. If you feel isolated, it's worth looking at the mechanics of your environment before looking for a flaw in your personality. Adult friendship requires navigating a different landscape. Consider Alicia, who signs up for a pottery class specifically to meet new people. She walks into the studio and sees a small group already laughing together at a table. Before she even takes off her coat, her internal script begins. They already have their people. I'm just an interruption. They'll be nice because they have to be, but they don't actually want me here. No one has rolled their eyes or asked her to leave. Every negative conclusion Alicia has reached happened before she even introduced herself. Many of us enter social situations looking for confirmation of the rejection we already expect. This internal rehearsal creates a barrier to connection that is just as real as a lack of time. Neville Goddard's law of assumption suggests that what we repeatedly assume to be true becomes the position from which we experience life. In social terms, this acts as a behavioral lens. Because Alicia assumes she is an outsider, she physically occupies that role. She stands near the door, checks her phone frequently, and offers short, guarded answers that protect her from being seen. These micro-behaviors signal disinterest to others. When they eventually back away to give her space, Alicia interprets their distance as proof that her original suspicion was right. Our hidden assumptions dictate our external social reality before we ever speak a word. During a lull in the pottery class, the group turns back to their own clay. Alicia watches them and instantly decides she's been weighed and found wanting. Psychological research into the liking gap shows our brains are remarkably bad at reading these moments. Across multiple studies, people consistently underestimated how much their conversation partners actually enjoyed their company. Alicia leaves the class feeling like a burden, while the group likely experienced the interaction as a perfectly positive part of their evening. In moments of social vulnerability, we frequently mistake our own internal anxiety for other people's negative judgment. We are often told to wait for an instant spark of chemistry, but that expectation sets a bar few adult encounters can clear on day one. The reality of connection is more mathematical. Sociologist Jeffrey A. Hall found that moving from an acquaintance to a casual friend requires a baseline of 40 to 60 shared hours. To reach that milestone, we have to substitute the automatic repetition of childhood with intentional, recurring spaces. Each week in pottery class is a deposit into that 40-hour requirement. This makes initiation a practical necessity rather than an act of desperation. As long as there is reciprocity over time, sending the first text or suggesting coffee is simply how the hours accumulate. Adult friendship is the patient participation in the slow accrual of shared time. For Alicia to change her experience, she has to shift her internal position. She has to move from asking, "How do I get them to like me?" to "Who am I being when I enter this room?" This is a shift in self-concept. It is the decision to walk into a room assuming permission to belong, rather than waiting for it to be granted. From this perspective, a clunky or awkward conversation is a normal part of the process, not evidence of a personal failure. The most effective way to practice this is through a one-bid approach. You make a single, low-risk attempt at connection. Ask one follow-up question, say hello first, or send one message after the event. The goal is to replace your predictions about what others are thinking with a simple sense of curiosity. The next time you face an unfamiliar group, try dropping the assumption that the door is already closed. You do not have to be chosen before you participate. By showing up repeatedly and assuming connection is possible, you finally give adult friendship the space it needs to grow.